Two other aspects of yourself that can cause extreme limitation if you're not consciously aware of how to make them effective are your inner masculine child and your inner feminine child. Just as we all have an inner masculine and an inner feminine, we also all have inner children that represent both the masculine and the feminine. When these aspects of yourself are in the driver's seat when they're not supposed to be, when they show up unconsciously and they're not regulated, when they don't have boundaries, they can become extremely damaging. They can become extremely sabotaging to your reality. Now, myself, I have two children. They're both young. I have a boy and I have a girl. Perfect for me. Perfect for a person who loves psychoanalyzing things. Perfect for a person who loves exploration of duality. Here comes one of the gremlins. Just like children, we have inner children, and these inner children require boundaries. They require discipline. They require love, attention, and play. When you starve either your masculine or feminine or both aspects of your inner child of this, you will see destruction. How children throw tantrums, right? And we're supposed to be there for them, but we're not necessarily supposed to give in. A lot of you are giving in to your inner children when they're throwing tantrums, and you're calling it self-love and you're calling it self-care, but it's actually self-sabotage. Right, well, my son, he's 3, right? If he asked me for Cheetos in the morning for breakfast, of course I would say no. Although he wants that in the moment, right? He wants it, and I honor the desire that he wants it. I know as a more conscious and knowledgeable adult that in the long term, Cheetos for breakfast is not what he desires. It's not a greater desire. It's not an overall desire. Right, it's going to be very limiting. It's unhealthy. It's not beneficial for his entire being. So I'll say no to the Cheetos and say, okay, maybe for lunch. A lot of you guys aren't seeing certain manifestations because they're coming from your inner children, which is amazing, which is great. It's incredible. But there's other aspects of yourself that may deter the manifestation because in the overall grand scheme of things, that desire that you have is not beneficial to your entire being at the moment. And you'll see this with several aspects. For example, a certain aspect of yourself, perhaps your inner child, desires a lot of money. But there's a higher aspect of yourself that knows that if you are just given a lot of money, you will no longer create anything. You will no longer chase your purpose. You know, a lot of people, like, when it comes to nepotism, they say it's the worst thing that happened to them. This is why you see a lot of kids with really rich parents fall into drugs and suicidal ways and depression, because on one end, a lot of us who don't experience nepotism see that as amazing and beautiful. The people who go through it, they feel that their parents stripped them of the need and the desire to create something of their own because they just inherited everything. While one aspect of you really, really wants the money, and I'm sure will get it around lunchtime, the higher aspect of yourself knows that you can wait for the money because it's more important for you to start with your purpose. Going back to the child aspect of things, as you can see, the inner children, the inner masculine and the inner feminine child of you also requires play. And it becomes extremely distracting, extremely chaotic when you don't give it. When it comes to play, if you don't give it, these aspects of yourself will continue to wreak havoc on your life and become a distraction. You're watching Netflix at night instead of working on the book that you wanted to be writing. You are eating Cheetos for breakfast. Sure, you can sit on the couch. Just make sure it's not too loud, okay? Your inner children, as you can see, always want to be included. when you don't include these aspects of yourself into your life and you don't give them proper time to express themselves, to experience, to be in the wheel in a way that's healthy, to be driving in a way that's healthy, they will distract you. They will beg for your attention. And this is when we start experiencing things like addictions. This is when we start experiencing things that can manifest as laziness. Because in one way or another, an aspect that's integral to you, an inner child, a father, a mother, these aspects that need recognition, if they don't get it, they become destructive. So, my son, which is an aspect of the masculine part of my inner child, wants my attention. No more feminine, no more here, giving and showing up in a way that's feminine. My daughter's asleep, she's resting. The masculine part of my inner child wants to play. It's time for me to get physical. It's time for me to do something in physical reality rather than a creative endeavor, and be there for him and play with him. People who don't acknowledge their inner children in a healthy way become representations of the forever child. These are people who don't grow up. They're immature in a sense because they don't know how to integrate their inner children. They're either completely ignoring them and therefore not recognizing how much they're actually running the show, or they're overly empowering themselves and expecting everything to come to them when they have a tantrum, or people to just give in to them all the time. And of course you can manifest this, that people always give you what you want. Apparently I'm just rambling, and that's enough for this video. I guess I will touch on this topic in the future when I have settled my inner children. Thanks for listening.